It's time to jump off the pitch and jump on some lines. Welcome to the World Soccer Betting Show, presented by Picks Parlays.
It's Franko and the Genius World Soccer Betting Show, presented by Picks Parlays. I'm Franko, he's the Genius, and we're back with Group B. Sean, what do we got?
Is there anything interesting in this group? First of all, I just want to say to everybody watching out there in England from Twitter that if the U.S. wins this game on Black Friday, you'll never live it down. I will be on you for months and months and months. But we can't worry about that if you're the U.S. because you got to win the first game first. And
you sure do.
That's the you lose the first game, the second game. If you beat England, it might not even matter.
So let's break it down. We got England, the United States, Wales, and Iran in this group. We'll take it from the top, Sean, and we'll start with England. FIFA rank 5 for the Three Lions, the 16th appearance. They, of course, famously won the World Cup on home soil in 1966. They were 4th last year, not last go around 4 years ago in 2018. They're coming off that second place finish in the Euros.
Yeah, lost in penalties.
Yep, but England not been in great form of late. Last 7 games, no wins, 3 losses, 4 draws in the Nations League. In fact, they were relegated from their Nations League group.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. You talk a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of stuff around Gareth Southgate. And, is he picking the right team? Is he picking the right players? Obviously, there's so much talent in England. But, the main thing goes to there's this huge thing about right back because Reece James is hurt and Kyle Walker's hurt and who's going to play right back. And I think that, who's going to score goals for this team? They couldn't score any goals in the Nations League. They were terrible in those games. I mean, you watch those games.
Until they got the 3-3 with Germany in that wild game.
Yeah, and a dead rubber. Like at that point, they had already been relegated. So, it's a little bit crazy. I mean, obviously, Harry Kane is the guy. They have, Sterling and, you look at this thing, Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham. They have so much talent. But, the problem with them is, I just think the media over there just absolutely crushes them. The weight of the whole world is on that team.
Every time they take the field.
Every time, and they get, it's just so great. The media in England, they just never let up on this team. And, they if they would have won the Euros and, they missed 3 penalties there, but if they would have won that, it would have changed the whole outlook. This team would have been winners now. But now until they do something, and they just got knocked out of the Nations League, this could be interesting.
They've only got 2 proven goal scorers on the international level, and that's, of course, Harry Kane. He's got 51 goals and 75 caps, and Raheem Sterling's got 19 goals and 79 caps.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, Marcus Rashford's been in great form for United, player of the month for the Premier League in September. He might not even make the squad. I mean, you just don't know who's gonna find these games. And these games are going to be tight in this group. Like, the England opens with Iran on match day 1. They play November 21st at 8 a.m. And, that might be the best team to open with for England because maybe, if they get a win against Iran, they can build a little momentum. But,
if you lose a game to Iran, look out.
The problem, when you see some of these groups, like, once again, this is, if you're watching this here, hopefully you watched our preview of Group A, and hopefully you stay tuned tomorrow, C and D, and E and F on Wednesday, F and G on Thursday, stuff like that. So, but, if you watch some of these groups, there's going to be some games maybe you think, Group A, Netherlands probably should go. This group, I just don't know. I mean, you can't afford to lose any games or drop any points because every game is tough. I mean, this Iran team, they're not as highly ranked and as highly whatever as this, but they're going to come in, and this is not going to be an easy game for England. Make no mistake about it. With all the pressure, they have all the pressure. They have to win the game because they play USA and then Wales after that.
When I look at England, one thing that concerns me is defensively. You mentioned it. They've got injury concerns with Reece James and Kyle Walker. And then what are they going to do at center back? Is Harry Maguire going to play at center back? That that concerns me. A Maguire-Stones pairing in there would have me nervous.
Look, if you've watched me and you've watched any shows on Max Wagers, any of these other places we do here for picks and parlays, you know that I'm not the biggest Maguire fan. I'm a Manchester United fan. He's been terrible for United at times. He's a little bit slow. I think some teams can. I don't know if it's anybody from this group, but if he goes up against somebody with pace, like maybe Sadio Mane, if England wins the group and Senegal finishes second, I think that could be an issue. So yeah, I think it's a big concern for England. I mean, obviously, the first game they're such huge favorites. England's minus 335 and Iran is plus 1200. So no one in the world thinks Iran has a chance in this game. But I'm telling you, England could struggle in this game just because of all the pressure. They shouldn't. They should win this game easily, 2-3-0, something like that. But it's not the way it's going to go down. If you've watched and you know anything about the way this English team operates, they struggle and there's going to be a lot of pressure on them.
I will say this. I think England does have one of the rising stars in the tournament, and that's Jude Bellingham. 19 years old. He's already captaining Borussia Dortmund.
He could, Real Madrid,
he could have a real breakout tournament. He's going to be the most expensive midfielder in the summer transfer window. I mean, he's going to cost somebody a lot of money.
Yeah, and he's a star. His brother's coming up too. His brother Job is very good as well. But yeah, this kid is a star, and he may have to pop up with some goals here. I think somewhere, because I just don't know if maybe if it's Harry Kane's the favorite to win the Golden Boot as well, but I just don't know. I just watched them play so often in that Nations League, and I was just not impressed. They don't play well as a team sometimes.
That's what's going to make it interesting. All right, let's hit the USA here. The Americans, FIFA ranked 16th. It's the 11th appearance for them. Their best finish was actually third way back in 1930. You remember that, right? You were around for that, right?
Yeah. Would they beat?
They beat.
They beat England.
They beat
That's
England.
right. And they're gonna do it. And they beat them in 2010.
1-1, right?
USA beats England 1-1.
The famous was that New York Post headline or Daily News. The U.S. of course did not qualify in 2018, an epic disaster there. Although prior to that, they have gotten out of the group in the two previous tournaments in 2010 in South Africa, 2014 in Brazil. The U.S. up and down in qualifying, finished third in CONCACAF behind Canada and Mexico, and only had one road win during qualifying. They've struggled away from U.S. soil. Didn't play particularly well in the two penultimate friendlies there. A 2-0 loss to Japan, and then a stale sort of 0-0 with Saudi Arabia, played in front of empty stadiums in Europe. Sean, your thoughts on this USA team coming into the World Cup?
Not the biggest Greg Berhalter fan. I think sometimes he gets the lineups wrong. I think he needs to know who his starting 11 is in this group in the first game, because you play Wales first on November 20th. The good thing for American fans is, if you're on the East Coast, every game is
a delight.
2 o'clock in the afternoon. You don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to watch the games like you did when the Japan World Cup was happening in 2002. Oh man, that was brutal.
Black Friday, 2 o'clock on Black Friday against England. How perfect
crazy.
Is that?
We're going to be at Conti's Tavern. Shout out to my guy Salvi. We'll be over there. Look, the game, they need to have the team settled going into this Wales game. I think that game obviously is massive. It's the game of the tournament.
Must win the first game. It's a must win. It's a must not lose.
Yes, must not lose. You can't lose the game. If you get a draw, it's not the worst thing. Then you got to beat Iran, and it comes down to goal difference and stuff like that. But if they can find a way to win, and this Wales team, look, they play. We'll talk about them in a second. They play well. This USA Wales game, by the way, USA plus 155, Wales plus 200, draw plus 210. Now USA is, and all these odds thanks to Caesars, by the way. Thank you, Caesars. That line's moving a little bit. It's moving towards the USA. So maybe people are thinking, the USA has a better chance here. But this Wales team is going to be tough.
I have to feel like when the lights go on, that this U.S. team is going to perform. I just feel like in that situation, it's a talented group. It's a young group. The U.S. is most likely going to have the youngest team at the tournament.
Yeah.
And I think they have some guys. Are they ready to win the tournament this time? No, I don't think so. But I think they have guys who aren't afraid of the moment. They've played in Champions League games. They've been on the field in big European club matches.
Who's the best player in the U.S.? Aronson, right?
No, I still think it's Pulisic. He's still your difference maker.
This whole thing with this, these ads that are driving me nuts with this Volkswagen ads and all these other ads that they have and about the pressure and stuff like this. Like, this guy's got to perform, man, because he hasn't done a lot for Chelsea in 2 years since he got the move. He's been injured a lot. He's always injured. You know, he has to have a big tournament. Aronson is one of these players. Aronson, Tyler Adams, all these guys, playing at Leeds, but Pulisic has to have a big tournament. If he has a bad tournament, USA's going to have.
He's had moments at Chelsea, right? When they came out of lockdown, he had a great stretch of games.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt in the FA Cup final.
Yeah. He's hurt a lot.
I thought he was a difference maker when they won the Champions League. I thought he was a difference maker in the two-legged semifinal against Real Madrid. He scored in the first leg. He set up the clincher. In the second leg. So he's had moments. He's just. One, he hasn't been able to stay healthy consistently.
Yeah.
And then secondly, he kind of fell out of favor with Tuchel, and he's been a sub here under Graham Potter. In flashes, he's had flashes where he shows it. It just hasn't been consistent enough. But he's still the talisman for this U.S. team.
Yep.
Right. He is still the guy. Who this U.S. team looks for to be the game breaker. Now, they've got some other talented players who are going to have to show up, particularly in that midfield. I think that MMA midfield with McKennie, who's at Juventus, Yunus Musa, who I think could also be a breakout star, who plays in La Liga with Valencia, and then Tyler Adams. You've seen a little bit of what Tyler Adams is about with Leeds. I know Leeds started well. They've hit a little bit of a rough patch here, but when you watch them play, you can see what the best Tyler Adams looks like.
He's good.
He does a little bit of that N'Golo Kante stuff, the way he buzzes around the pitch. My biggest question, though, for this U.S. team, though, is one, there's two things. One, three, really. Who's going to score the goals? They're still a little unsettled at forward.
Yes.
Who's going to start at center back? Right?
Yes.
Right? We think Walker Zimmerman is probably going to start at one, and then who starts alongside him? Chris Richards, I think, is the guy they would like, but he's been hurt and can't get a game with Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I hope he didn't lose Tim Ream's number, who's been in great form for Fulham.
Your Fulham team is flying right now.
He's in great form for a team in top 10 in the Premier League right now. And then lastly, who's going to play in goal, right? Matt Turner just picked up an injury with Arsenal at the time of this taping. We'll see. Hopefully it's not serious. I would have thought he was the guy. Also, Matt Turner, shout out college soccer and Fairfield University. We're taping at one of their rival schools here. At Rider University. But yeah, he looked like he was going to be the number one guy. And then he picks up an injury, and Zach Steffen has been injury prone. Zach Steffen is playing right now for Middlesbrough, a team that's in the relegation zone in the championship. So it's unsettled there. There are some question marks they've got to answer just a few weeks away from the World Cup.
Yeah, and you don't like questions going into these tournaments.
No.
The teams that you want to look at here are the ones that are settled, with the settled lineups. The France's, the Brazil. The Brazil, the difference between some of those teams is, who's going to actually, they'll rotate some, but they have a settled, top 14, top 15. If you have any questions going into these tournaments, it's tough. And, as someone who's looking to maybe, play these games, I don't know. You're talking about questions. You don't want questions. You want information. You want, stuff that decisiveness, I guess you're looking for.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that first group opponent for the USA, and that's Wales.
Yeah.
Wales, FIFA ranked 19. You actually find out all four teams in this group ranked in the FIFA top 20. Take for that what you will, but Wales ranked number 19. It's only the second appearance for them. They reached the quarterfinals in their only other appearance in 1958. Again, Wales not in great form coming into this World Cup. 0-4-1 in the last 5 games. They were also relegated from their Nations League group. They got just 1 point from 6 games.
Yeah, and I just, what's their identity? I just don't know how good this team is. Gareth Bale hasn't even been playing.
Right, he hasn't been playing for LAFC.
And he's old. I mean, look, Gareth Bale's a superstar when he was, with Tottenham. And, obviously, he won everything there is to win with Real Madrid, and he's super. Is he going to?
Is the game plan wait for Gareth Bale to do something spectacular?
That's I just
Can he even play 90 minutes?
I apparently not. If he's not playing, if he's not playing,
he can't get into that LAFC side.
I know, it's just crazy. I don't know how good they are. I know they're highly ranked. Like these teams, the problem with some of these FIFA rankings is, They're ranked because they won games 2 and 3 years ago. Like I don't know how good they are. I'm not sure how good they are.
You want a stat? So maybe this will be the throw out the form book group between England, the U.S. and Wales. Those 3 teams are 0, 9, and 5 in their last 14 internationals combined.
I'm gonna tell you something too. Like that to me, because Iran is ranked highly in this team. I think this Iran team has a chance. No one in the world is giving this team a chance to do anything in this group, but these teams aren't great. And Iran, if they could do something in that second game against Wales, has a chance to maybe get out of this group, and no one really fancies them. I just don't know. I don't know how good Wales is. I know, like, comparatively, they play in Europe and stuff like this, but I don't know. USA, I think USA has to attack this game and go for a win. You got to win this game.
100%. You got to win that game.
Don't sit back. Go for it.
Remember, Wales only had to play one playoff game against Sweden because of Russia being thrown out of.
I think they would have
FIFA.
been in trouble in that Russia game too. I think that Russia team is pretty good. Obviously, coming off a quarterfinal berth in the last World Cup at home, so. I think that would have been a problem game for Wales. So
last team in the group, we kind of mentioned them, Sean. Iran. FIFA rank is 20th. It's the 6th appearance there. They have never gotten out of the group. They did qualify as a group winner from the Asian Confederation. They recorded 25 points, finished ahead of South Korea in that group. And as you mentioned, Sean. Not a team maybe necessarily know a lot about. They've had some tumultuous times there, both some stuff going on at home in the country, as well as, and we'll kind of try and stay in our lane here as the best we can, but also some sort of geopolitical spiciness, I guess you might say, to this group. Iran against England, the United States, and Wales.
If the Iran and the USA game is to go, if they both are on 3 points and that's to go through or something like this, man, that's going to be absolutely crazy. That game is going to mean a ton. Obviously, they'll be fired up. They'll be their supreme leader will be giving all kinds of bonuses out. This team, look, they're top 20 in the world. You don't get to the FIFA rankings. They're a dangerous team.
Carlos Queiroz back as the head coach as well. Very, very veteran coach of the international scene.
Manchester United win the 2008 Champions League. Look, this is a very dangerous team. And when we start to look at some of the things, some of the upsets and some of the odds, to me, the second game, the Black Friday game where Wales, it's a 5 a.m. start. It's obviously not 5 a.m. over there. It's going to be early. It's going to be hot. Wales against Iran. Wales is plus 118. Iran is plus 265. Iran's used to I just think that is the game. Especially if the USA can beat Wales. If the USA beats Wales, I think that's the game that could be the upset game in this group.
I agree 100% with you, Sean. Remember also, Iran beat the United States the only other time they met, right? In the 98 World Cup, 2-1. A disastrous World Cup for the US.
Yeah. Look, this team is dangerous. I mean, and then you start to look these games, obviously. So match day 1 is England-Iran. These are all Eastern time. November 21st, 8 a.m. USA-Wales, November 21st at 2 p.m. Match day 2, Black Friday. Absolute carnage happening. Wales and Iran, November 25th, 5 a.m. England USA.
Going to be a lot of
At 2
eyeballs on
p.m.
that England USA
Make
game.
sure you listen. If you're in the New Jersey area, we'll be at Conti's Tavern watching that game. Come see us at thing. And then match day 3, massive Wales, England, Iran, USA, both at 2 p.m. on November 29th, and those games are going to be pretty interesting. England is a huge favorite over Iran. Iran's going to be underdog in all 3 games, although if Iran beats Wales and USA goes into that both with 3-3, I'd be interested to see what the odds are for that third game.
Sure thing. Sean, you want to make some picks?
Sure.
Who do you got coming out?
Group winners, England. I'm like not super confident in that. I think they're just too much. They're better. I think USA comes out second. I think, but if you're asking me, like, I would take a chance to qualify from the group. I would throw some money on Iran at plus 330 because USA and Wales are both plus 100. I would take a chance and say I'm going to throw a couple bucks on Iran because I think they could come out.
Again, we are in agreement for the second time. I think England wins the group. I do think the U.S. will get out of this group. I think once the lights go on.
How many points does USA get?
6.
Wow. Lose to England, win the other 2?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think England gets 9.
They'll get 9 and then get beat in the round of 16 by Senegal. This is like, you can see this, which brings us to the next thing. Do you think any of these teams can win the World Cup?
Well, England got to the Euro final.
Yeah, and they got to the semifinal, and they really should have won that game.
Now
in
they were a
2018.
little defensive at times.
That's a problem
in that tournament. Like they went ahead. Remember they went ahead at Italy, and then they just sat back, and kind of let Italy come on to them, and eventually gave up the equalizer. I think if England is progressive and plays on the front foot, it's got a chance to get deep into this tournament.
What's the I forget the bracket that they have to go through?
So the Group B winner has to play the Group A runner-up.
And then after that, I think that's where it gets dodgy because they're going to have to...
You've got Group C and Group D. So you could be looking at Argentina or France in a possible quarterfinal.
Yeah, they got no chance. I just don't see them getting to. They could, obviously they're the third choice here, but I just
that could be Argentina in the quarterfinals.
If it was me, what I'd rather do, yeah. So it's winners Group C, runner up Group D. If it was me, I would rather put money on somebody else. I just think when you start talking about these, the futures to win the tournament. Brazil, France, Argentina, England. I just think there's better teams than England. They could win the tournament. I just don't think they will.
Sure. USA. They can't win it. Could they get through to the quarterfinals?
They're gonna have to
play like a USA Netherlands game. That would be a fun game.
Yeah, they'd have to beat the Netherlands, and then after that,
Well, if you win the group, then you might be looking at Senegal or Ecuador in that, which certainly are winnable games in that first knockout round. They could.
Winners Group B. So, no, England would play France in that second round. They would have to beat... If USA beat the Netherlands, because the winners Group C is
right. If you were the runner-up in Group B, you may face Argentina.
So they'd have to beat Netherlands, Argentina in the first 2 rounds. I can't.
Nah.
I don't know. They might be able to win one, but it's tough.
Yeah. Franko and the Genius World Soccer Betting Show. We're presented by
It's about the
Picks
World
and
Cup.
Parlays.
It's all about the World Cup.
Presented by Picks and Parlays. That's Group B. Hang with us, and we'll come back and talk Group C.
Yeah, definitely. We'll we have all kinds of stuff. So make sure you're watching every day. 2 episodes a day, dropping all the way up until the World Cup. So make sure you're tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're getting all this stuff right to your inbox. And we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching the World Soccer Betting Show. Like and subscribe if you're new, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Missed an episode? Our podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Cast, Apple, and more. The World Soccer Betting Show is presented by Picks and Parlays.